So we are shooting right. All right. I'm trying to get Danny on the call. In the meantime,
Okay.
yeah. Okay. So thanks again for doing this with us. And regardless of the inconsistencies and the inconvenience caused, I want to apologize for the inconveniences caused. I'm trying to see if you have participants on the stream
Okay.
now, so we can, yeah. So if you're online, if you're watching this, can you drop a comment? Can you drop a comment in the live chat? Let's see where you are.
Yes.
Let's coming from. Let's know where you're watching. Let's get to know. Let's get to see you. So just drop a comment. Yeah, apologies um for starting a bit late, um or a bit earlier rather. So let's get to see. Let's get to see you. 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 You can just drop a comment so we can see you live. Great. So let me know if I'm audible. Welcome, DM Victory. Um, yeah, awesome, awesome, awesome. So we're having the streams, we're having the responses. Yeah, yeah. Again, we apologize for starting a bit early. So great, 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 great. Welcome, welcome. So we have people from Ibadan, Nigeria. We think probably those from the rest of the world might be a little bit hesitant in joining the live stream because they might still be thinking we are still going live in the next 30 minutes or so. So while we are waiting for more people to join the stream, again, I want to apologize for starting a bit earlier than usual. Victory from Benin City, welcome. Oluyemi from Ibadan, welcome. Yeah. So yes, let's kick off. Let's kick off with why we are here. So the question, I hope you must have gotten through the form. I think I sent you a copy of the form the other time, the Google form. Hello, Mario. Yeah, you
I'm
are
sorry.
muted.
I was
Yeah,
responding to some chat messages. My apologies. Okay. What was the question?
yeah. I said you got a copy of the Google form. The Google form I sent to your mail about some of the objections and possible questions people have when it comes to email writing, when it comes to writing for clients, when it comes to pitching foreign clients, and when it comes to writing emails. So, in one of the responses, some of the responses, a lot of people talked about the fact that they might not have little or they may not have an idea about what email copywriting, email marketing is. So, let's start from there. Email marketing, email copywriting, what is it all about, and why should a freelancer in 2024 be interested in this skill?
So, email marketing and email copywriting is essentially selling via email. That is the like short and sweet way to describe email marketing, email copywriting. It's just using email as your channel to actually sell a product or service. The reason why in this year and in every year for that matter, we should be locking in on email marketing is because number one, the data says that 99% of people that have an email account check their email every single day. In fact, I want you to drop in the chat if you have checked your email in the last 24 hours. I just want you to put yes or no. Have you checked your email in the last 24 hours? Okay, so while I'm waiting on folks to drop yes or no in the chat, my point is the data is very clear. Email is not going anywhere. It is only strengthening. There is supposed to be an increase of even more users. I'm seeing some yeses in the chat. So look, we're actually seeing the data play out in real time, right? I want everybody to pay attention to the chat. The statistic I just shared, 99% of people that have email check their email every day. And I just raised the question, how many of you have checked your email in the last 24 hours? I've not seen a single no yet. And so the data is very clear. You have got to invest in learning this skill. And Diama said, I do check it every time. Yes. Chaz said, yes, multiple times a day, or multiple times today, rather. So the data is very clear. We all know that folks are checking their email on a regular basis, on a daily basis. And so you've got to learn the skill because it is extremely profitable. People are checking their email. And so you want to make sure that you are helping your clients or your business show up since people are already there waiting. Donnie.
Hi.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Danny. You know, in spite of the inconveniences, yeah, thank you so much. So Maria, I would have to probably pause you here. Danny has an emergency he has to quickly attend to in the next 20 minutes.
Yep.
So I want to give Danny the chance to probably say one or two things about email copywriting and email marketing before you proceed. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Great.
I probably
Right.
have 40 minutes. So it's a
Oh,
little time.
great.
Yeah.
You have more than
Okay.
me, Donnie.
Well, then, if you want to keep going,
No,
I'll chime in a
you're
little
good.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm sure I whatever you had said before I got here is probably brilliant. I want to. Can I share my screen? Is it possible?
Yes, you can. You can.
Okay. Let me see if I can find the thing I want to find. I mean, I had it on my screen, but I gotta.
And while you're doing that, Donnie, I'm still wanting to point everybody's attention to the chat. We still have people answering yes to the question that I raised a moment ago. How many of you have checked your email in the last 24 hours? We have not gotten a single no in the chat. Do you see this? You see how important this is? We're seeing the data play out in real time on this call, right? So, hey, I mean, look, you gotta invest in this skill. It's extremely profitable.
Yes.
Awesome. Yes.
I want to show you.
Great.
This I think is something that's very interesting. Y'all are seeing my screen, I assume.
No,
This you're not seeing it.
oh, there it is. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. It's right.
This data came out a couple of weeks ago, and here's what it's showing. Basically, a huge selection of consumers were asked if they want to see how much content or services they want to see, not content but services, how much they want artificial intelligence to be involved with that. And what we're seeing is 42% of the people surveyed, which is probably true for the majority of people, they want to see humans supported by AI. That's the biggest segment. And it's also growing versus last year. And the reason I bring this up is because, number one, we have to be familiar with artificial intelligence. We just have to be. It's where the world is headed. And if we want to remain competitive, we have to at least be able to use the tool. But also, I think it's more important than ever now to let potential clients know we know how to use AI and we are using it to make our craft faster and better. And so I just want to put that out there as one of the things as you're looking for your clients. Talk about AI. Talk about using AI, how AI impacts email, how it impacts copywriting, how it impacts research, so that people know you're on the cutting edge of technology, and because this is what they're looking for. It also showed that data showed that less people are looking for AI checked by humans or AI doing the job all by itself. So that's actually decreased versus last year. So again, we want to be in charge. We want to make sure people know we're in charge, and we're not just taking ChatGPT stuff, copy and pasting it, because that's not going to work. But they want to know we're using AI and we know how to leverage that to be the best copywriters, the best service providers possible. I just want to put that out there. This data was fascinating to me, and I wanted to share it with you. because also that was the marketing services. It's actually true across all the categories that they checked, but especially for us, we need to be on the forefront of that. So as Maria was demonstrating, everyone checks email. Everyone prioritizes email. I actually saw a recent study also that said people are 16 times more likely to see your email than your social media post, right? So sometimes potential clients, they think about the most attractive thing, which sometimes is TikTok. Let me go figure out TikTok. Let me get my IG game tight. But as we're educating people, email is the moneymaker. Email is the impact maker. And so this is the perfect place for us to be in terms of providing real value to clients. If we want to make them money, TikTok is not it. TikTok may not even exist in many countries because no one, people are not trusting what the Chinese government is capable of doing with that. At least in America, it's on the chopping block. We may not have access to. So email is the right place to be. Email is the place where we can probably make the most impact in terms of revenue versus anything else. And so you chose the right place to be, and we're learning about the right thing. Let me say this also. There's a lot of buzz again about email. So even though TikTok or whatever is maybe the hottest topic, there's an increasing number of people who get it. Email is important, especially since the pandemic. We know email is something that everyone needs. So for us to, I guess is again the right time, the right place for us to be. So this, I have so much that I could say. I'm going to take a breath for 1 second, get some water, and then I'm going to find something else to say. I got tons.
All right. Okay. Now that's, you said something interesting that made me excited. You said clients are looking for copywriters who know how to leverage AI to write emails for their businesses. I would want to ask a question here. A lot of people feel AI today is kind of robotic and it's kind of too dry. All right. And it's almost likely that someone can actually spot a copy that is AI written than a copy that is, written from the scratch. So how would you, what are the things you would say to help a copywriter using AI to write emails or copies? What are the prompts? What are the things you are going to tell the person such that his copy doesn't turn out robotic?
Yeah. I know Maria's got some good insights on this as well. I actually did this over this week because my use case for AI is not usually the writing part. It's coming up with ideas and sometimes exploring things like research wise. And I ask it questions that I might know the answer to, but I want to see different ways of presenting that information. But what you can do is this. First thing, don't think about prompts as an individual thing that you put in. What's the super prompt? And I know some people are selling prompts. If you put this prompt in, you'll get your best output. It's not really the best way to do it. What I love to do is I will say, today we're writing an email. And I want you to base what you write on previous examples. I'm going to show you the example that you understand. And then it'll say, sure, give me the example. Or you can give multiple examples. So it doesn't have to be emails that you wrote, but emails that you want to emulate, or I want to write something like what they've written. So then you say, okay, I'm going to paste in the copy, the body copy and the subject line into it and say, analyze this for style and tone and explain or describe that to me. And it will say, okay, it's persuasive, it's personable, it's funny. And then you say, okay, great. Let's write an email. And then you give it information about what you want the email to be about. But it's more of a conversation. You're not just putting something in and getting something out. You tell it what you want, show it what you want, and then interact with it as it gives you something. You say, well, make it shorter, make it longer. I hate trying to write long stuff with this thing. It just doesn't. I haven't yet figured out how to make it write long copy, but you write it piece by piece. It's okay. And then you just tell it what you want. And then when you get the output, you definitely still need to go in there and humanize it. make it really sound like a person, not sound like a robot. But the more levels of back and forth you have, the closer you're going to be able to get to something that sounds like what you want it to sound like. So that's where I'll start that conversation. I know we don't want to only talk about AI, but Maria, how are you using AI?
Honestly, on my end, I do mostly use it for ideation. I don't use it to write, like you said. I mean, honestly, when I've attempted to use AI to write email for me, I have found that the time I've invested in trying to get it to understand exactly what I want to convey is the same amount of time I would have just knocked it out myself. So at this point, I use it for ideation, and I will use it to analyze what I've already created. So I really loved what you said just a moment ago when you were like telling it, hey, describe the tone to me. What do you think this email is about? Like, that's super smart. Because basically what happens is AI serves as an auditor of sorts. It's auditing what you have created to let you know if it's optimized for whatever conversion you're seeking. So that's another way that I've used it, not so much in email, but definitely with landing page copy. But I need to do it with email now. So I appreciate you for sharing that, because I'm going to have to start doing that with email. But yeah, I don't use it to write. I really don't. No.
I exactly what you said. Ideation is maybe the best use case. But the real reason I brought it up is we should be playing around with it, using it. But in terms of getting clients, I think it's important that they know that we're not. They don't want to learn it. So if we're learning it, they can say that person knows what I don't yet know and don't really want to learn.
Yeah.
And then you automatically get a piece of expertise attached to your thing.
Very true.
And your peers are kind of doing it. And we don't want, they know AI and I don't. You don't want that, especially when people are looking for that. So for our positioning, sometimes talk about AI and really do get to learn it. Over time, you'll find what works for you. I use it I talk about it way more than I use it. But it is great if you have to, give me 20 subject lines. Well, it's going to give you 20 subject lines like this.
Yeah.
4 of them will be good. 16 of them will be horrible.
Yeah.
But give me 100 subject lines, and then you get 8 or 9 out of that, versus writing them all by hand. Which, I mean, when you start getting in the flow of writing subject lines, you can write. I mean, you'll know several that you want to do, but that's just a way of moving faster, getting new ideas and new angles. And you can even say, let's come up with some new angles. Pretend we're talking about a jelly donut or whatever, something stupid, just to get the juices flowing. Because when it says something that you didn't expect, then your brain goes in a different direction and you have new ideas of your own. So it's great for coming up with ideas and different versions of things.
Yeah. I've noticed something also about AI. It's I've actually in testing writing using AI. I've noticed that AI uses a lot of adjectives, like adjectives that are kind of bogus. So I was writing a prompt the other time and I said, okay, AI, give me how to write an opening headline, lead for this kind of copy. And the adjectives that came, the adjectives I got were like, normally I'll not be able to write this adjective if I'm writing copy. And then also it has to be in a layman's language, all right, not adjectives that people begin to look for the dictionary and stuff. So I think that's one check mark a lot of people look out for when they are testing a writing that is written by AI and one that's written from the scratch.
One thing that I found, you're exactly right. The word choice is weird, but it's horrible at leads and it's horrible at closes. Well, it's not horrible at closes. It's not great at calls to action because it just lobs it up. It's like, buy now, or your journey to softer skin begins now. It's like, that's not bad, horrible, but I mean, like, you can do better. With leads, I can never get leads that I like, ever. So you may have to come, because it's not punchy enough. It says, in this complicated world that we live in, we all need solutions for softer skin. It's like, no one talks like that, and it's not that interesting. So your point is a good one. But in terms of coming up with leads, even if you ask, I want punchy hooks for and it gives you a bunch of poetic, fairy tale, weird stuff. I don't want that. I want something that's going to grab somebody's attention and make them want to read.
Of course.
So you had to do the leads on your own, usually, at least at this point.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. So, Mario, I want to ask you a question at this point. When we're talking about the writing aspect, A lot of people feel like I need to become a badass email writer, like I need to take a number of years, donkey years, 10 years before I can actually perfect my writing. So my question is, how do you start writing emails? Like, how do you basically get the juices flowing? If you were to start today, probably go back 10 years, 15 years, and you wanted to start writing, how would you start?
Like Nike, I would just do it. I mean, I'm just being honest. A lot of times people get caught up in, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not an expert yet. But Donnie actually just said it a moment ago, if you all were paying attention. And that is, you really just need to know a little bit more than the person you're pitching to. That's the bottom line. So you've got to move with a certain level of confidence. And so one of the best ways to gain confidence is with practice. I've found that when you have data backing you, when you have results backing you, you're unstoppable. So the best thing to do is first start and understand that when you start, you're going to fumble your way through. Some of your first emails will probably be the worst emails you've ever written in your life. But the most important thing is you've got to start. And I think so many people get caught up and hung up on the whataboutism and what is it called? Imposter syndrome,
Yeah.
that they can't even get out of their own way to even get started. So if you are stepping into this space for the very first time and you want to know what to do, I'm going to first say start, drop all of that imposter syndrome nonsense, kill it, and start. Again, your first few emails will probably be the worst emails you've ever written in your entire life. But you've got to keep going and you keep learning and you keep iterating as you go along. We've already discussed some really incredible ways for you to optimize your emails by way of AI. So really your emails, your initial emails don't even have to start off horribly because we just gave you the game on how to make them flawless, essentially. Another thing I would encourage you to do is look in your inbox and look at the emails that attract your attention, right? The data says that people purchase from email 50% of the time. Like 50% of sales happen from email, right? So, and wait, let me make sure I said that correctly because I don't want to screw that up. 50% of
Yeah.
people buy from marketing emails at least once per month. That's what the data says. 50% of people buy from marketing emails at least once per month. So, with that being said, I want you to go in your inbox and look at some emails that have captured your attention and perhaps led you to make a purchase and just emulate that, right? Analyze it, figure out, okay, how did they get my attention? Was it the subject line? Well, obviously the subject line had to do something initially. Is it brand awareness? Really look into all of that and then just start writing. You've got to do it. So the last time Gideon invited me to be a part of this discussion in January, I had encouraged many of you to start in your own backyard first, right? Because bad times don't last always. So you've got to start in your backyard, in your own backyard first. And so this is a great opportunity for you to start pitching local businesses in your area and say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I've done. Show them your portfolio of, AI optimized emails, and then just let them know how you can assist them. But you got to get started. That's the first part.
Of course.
Can I get in on that?
What we need? Sure,
Yeah.
sure, please.
First of all, I want to say there's one company that every time I email, my wife buys something every single time. they email pretty a lot. I want to say a couple things. Maria's advice is so good. You got to get started. And here's the good thing: your first emails may be bad, but I think about it like if you look back at pictures when you were a kid, and you say, "Oh, I looked weird. I dressed strange. My haircut. What was going on with the haircut?" It's embarrassing, but you have to go through that phase to get where you're at. And so you'll always be smarter. And going forward, you're going to get smarter day by day, better day by day. And you might look back and say, "Ooh, I wrote some bad emails in 2024."
Yeah.
But it takes writing bad ones to get to writing great ones. That's the first thing. And Maria said, I'm just doubling down on it. The second thing is you really don't have to be great. I was listening to a copywriter. This is crazy. She said she's made $400,000 from client fees in the last 7 months. And I said, oh, I know her. So I got on her email list, and her emails are actually quite basic. You don't have to be Gary Halbert to make money as an email copywriter, because your clients aren't sending anything. Your potential clients aren't sending anything.
Yeah.
Anything that you do is better than nothing, or they don't have time to do it. So any time that you can save them is better than nothing. And basic still works as long as the offer is decent. With a decent offer, all you got to do is put it in front of people, and eventually they'll buy. And your copy will get better as you go. So if you feel like you're not the best copywriter ever, that's okay. You can still go out and apparently make $400,000 in 7 months. Now, to be clear, I've never made $400,000 in 7 months, but this copywriter has. And it's a great reminder. We start where you're at, and you can do a lot, and you'll get further than you think if you just get started and keep going. What else did I say? Oh, the other thing is this: if you some niches or industries don't require a ton of copy. If you're writing for e-commerce, for example, a lot of times it's short copy, it's pretty basic copy. And many e-commerce stores don't send emails at all. You can increase their total sales 30% just by sending out basic emails on a regular basis. Or if they don't have like welcome sequences when people sign up, they don't have cart abandonment sequences, you can offer to do these things. That's money they're leaving on the table, and they probably know it. You don't have to be great. Just the cart abandonment email says, hey, I saw that you almost bought this, but you didn't. And then you give them some reason to buy. Just show up and remind them. Mm-hmm. And once you install that into the client's business, it makes the money forever. So that's another reason why you can charge good money, because it's an asset that makes the money forever. So it's not that I wrote 500 words. I gave you an asset that can give you money forever. Every time someone goes in and views something and they don't complete the transaction, we're going to give you a second and third shot at it. When you bring people on and get a coupon, 20% off, whatever, and they don't buy, how do we maximize that? So those email flows or automations, it doesn't have to be brilliant, but most e-commerce stores don't have them. And so the opportunity is massive to go out there with even, pretty basic copywriting skills and really make a big impact for these companies. Then you get that evidence that Maria is talking about. I helped create $100,000 for this store. Yep. Now I'm gonna go talk to the next person, and your next client is like, $100,000. I could use $100,000, and then it's a lot easier for you to speak with confidence to the next client. So Maria's advice is great. I just wanted to add a few little extra pieces to that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm gonna ask Maria this question. You talked about just starting, go for it, and just doing it basically. Now, one thing I've discovered a lot of people feel, especially we in the third world countries in Africa, is that imposter syndrome. All right, the imposter syndrome that's okay. This client, especially when pitching foreign clients now, this client is so perfect. What if I make a mistake? What if I'm not able to deliver? What if I'm not able to write according to the target market language of the client's audience? What if this? What if that? How do you deal with imposter syndromes? How do you, when you're pitching a foreign client, how do you overcome this low self-esteem, basically?
I'm actually going to, if it's okay, I want to share a quick slide presentation because I kind of outlined some quick steps. So let me.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. Wait. I thought I knew how to do this. Here we go. Okay.
It's a little tricky.
It is, right? I was like, wait a minute. It's not what I remember. All right. Can you guys see it?
There it goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first thing to answer your question, Gideon, is I would make a list of my top 100 American dream clients and begin the work of finding their email marketing problem and provide a solution. So this is kind of what I just mentioned a moment ago when I said start in your backyard, where you can kind of start for free. It doesn't need to be something you invest a ton of time in unless you really want this client. But what I would do is I would find some gaps in their current email marketing program, if you will. So that's the first thing I would do. And then I would, of course, send them a solution. So if you notice when you join their newsletter or you join their email list, you don't get any sort of welcome sequence, right? You just join it
Sure.
and that's it. Then maybe you can create a very quick welcome sequence, 2 to 3 emails, and say, hey, I'm a fan. Tell them why you want to work with their company. Like, give them real stuff, not just, oh, you guys do great business. Everybody thinks they do great business, right? So give them very specific things and let them know, hey, by the way, I've joined your list. I noticed you're not really, pushing anybody to uh, convert through your welcome sequence. So I wrote a couple of emails for you. If you like them, feel free to use them, and I would love to meet and discuss further. Okay. So problem meets solutions. You want to look at a problem with this prospective client, provide a solution. The next thing you want to do is show them what you've got. As I said earlier, results and data speak very loud. Okay. So in this case, results speak louder than words. Show them how you've been able to drive results for yourself. Sometimes we are our best client. We are our own best client. So maybe you want to start with yourself. How did you grow your own email list, right? Or show them what you've done for other clients. Again, starting with your backyard or looking for businesses that are similar to theirs and what you've been able to do for them. And then you want to help them visualize how you will deliver the same outcome for them. Okay. And understand all of these things kind of build upon the other. So when we talk about that imposter syndrome, I want you to understand these steps I'm sharing with you literally slaughter imposter syndrome. Okay. The third thing, you want to own your expertise. So sometimes we get on these calls with prospects and you're so excited and you're so nervous that you forget that you're the expert. So you're letting the prospect dominate the call and tell you what they want and what they need to do and you have got to be assertive. You've got to remember, wait a minute, I'm the email marketing expert on this call. So with that being said, do not be afraid to share your opinion. And if the prospect says something that does not make sense, for example, the prospect may say, oh, well, we don't like to send emails more than once a month because we don't want to bother people. That doesn't make sense, right? The data says otherwise. People want to hear from companies that they like, from brands that they like. So don't be afraid to push back and challenge their opinions. Now, of course, you don't want to curse them out and insult them, but you certainly want to be assertive and authoritative as the expert and say, hey, so I understand your concern. And I just want to share with you that the data says that 99% of email users check their email every single day. So you may want to make sure you show up a bit more often, right? You've got to counter and challenge them in what they believe about email marketing, because again, they're not the expert. You are. You're the expert. So with that being said, I think that's my last slide on this. Gideon, I hope that answered your question in terms of how does one kill imposter syndrome? 1, you find a problem, provide the solution. 2, you show the prospect what you've got. And 3, you own your expertise. You are the expert on the call. You're the expert. So, and I'm going to share my YouTube link because this is a shameless pitch for you all. My YouTube channel. Okay, subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Her channel is spectacular, by the way. So y'all want to do that. Let me say something. It's so good what you said, and actually I have slides too that so much of the same stuff. A way when clients or you're on the phone with a prospect and they start doing this here, whatever this is, ask them questions, because first of all, questions automatically put you in control, but you can ask them questions that they don't know the answer to.
Yep.
They don't know the answer to them, and then they say, now you're the expert because I don't know, so shut up talking. Don't interrupt when I'm talking because you don't know. That's why I'm here. So, you say, I can't think of anything now. Like, what's the average? Yeah, like, what's the lifetime value of your customers? Okay, so if you don't know that, why are you telling me what you want to do? I'm
Exactly.
here to help you. And if you don't know these basic things, then who do you think should be running this call? And so it's not. I mean, I get imposter syndrome, but you have to realize, like Maria said, you own the expertise. I'm the email marketing expert, and again, you don't have to know much to know more than them. I had a client. This is crazy. They make lots of money, and I did an ad for them, and they turned it off because people were buying too soon. They wanted people to read a certain number of articles on the website before they bought. So the guy running SEO said, "We're getting our page views are down." We're talking about the vice president said, "This ad, we're projecting $250,000 income or revenue." And this guy said, "Well, we're not getting enough page views." So they shut it off. So I say that to say clients are not always as smart as we prop them up to be. They run their business. They're not always the smartest people in the world. We should respect them, but we don't have to put them on a pedestal. They don't know everything, and they don't know what we know. And so remind yourself of that. It was what I call the rainmaker mindset. We think, I need a client. I would be lucky if this person hired me. But the truth is, their email marketing stinks, and they would be lucky to bring an expert like you on board. Remind yourself of that. They don't know. Their emails are horrible. They don't have a welcome sequence, whatever. And when you get that evidence, when you look, like Maria said, you're looking at what their problems are. I know you're losing money. It's not about me being an imposter. I just see where there's a gap. I see where you're missing money, and I want to help you. And I deserve to get paid for the help that I bring. And so you can, if you spend the time focusing on those things, I know how to fix your problem. You're not an imposter. You're a helper. You're an expert. You're a money maker. You're the money maker. They are a business owner, but they don't know how to make money. A lot of times they don't. I actually had a client who this is in e-commerce, and when we were talking, I gave my fee, and the owner said, "I'll be paying you more than my manager, my operations manager." But you're the one who knows how to make sales. Now, fascinating. Is a woman business owner. The operations manager was her man at the time. And so it didn't last long for me to make more than her man. A couple months, and it was like, but he didn't feel too good about that. But that's the position that you can be in. You're the one who knows how to make sales. We're studying direct response. We're studying psychology and conversion. And so we're the ones who are experts on that. And so we just remember, you're the expert, and you see their problem, and you can help. And so it's not about expertise or not. It's, it is about expertise, but it's not about imposter or not. It's about, that's the reality. I can help you. You need the help. You want to stay in business. You want to scale your business or level up. You need experts. It's just the fact.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I'm gonna ask Mario this question. I know you will be leaving anytime soon. So just one last question for you. What would you classify? What would you call a winning email according to what you think it should be? What would you call a winning email? Like, when people say, "Okay, I wrote this winning copy, and I wrote this winning email," to you, what's a winning email or a winning copy like?
I mean, honestly, it's the email that generates the highest number of conversions. So if the call to action is, go follow my YouTube channel, go subscribe to my YouTube channel, and this particular email generates, 50 new YouTube subscribers versus the other emails only generating 2 or 3, for me, it's a no-brainer. There have been times where we've sent emails on behalf of a client that had less than 50 words in them, and those were the most profitable emails for the client. There have been times where we've sent emails that were essentially a novel, where we're telling a story, and it's a very, very long form email, and those emails are profitable. So honestly, it really does depend on your brand, your audience, who you're talking to, what you're selling, the price point, what's the call to action. Maybe it's not selling something, you're just asking them to follow you somewhere. And I would say that for me, the winning email is the one that generates the highest number of conversions. That's the winning email for me. And you would be surprised at how simple sometimes the best email is. It may just be a flyer. Like I've had a client that it was actually very embarrassing for me, but he hired my team and I to do their email marketing. And we had written all these emails. We like to kind of mix up long form, short form, etc. Well, the client sent an email with a flyer, no copy, literally just a flyer. And that one generated the highest clicks. I was very upset. Happy for the client, but very disappointed that, well, it looks like what we did didn't work for some reason. So, I mean, it's whichever email generates the highest conversions. And now I'm going to switch over to my phone. You all, I'm running to the airport.
All right. Yeah. Safe travels. So I think I have some few minutes to spare with Danny. So
Yeah,
I think I'm going to ask
yeah,
you the same. Yes, I'm going to ask you the same question, Danny.
My answer
So what
is
would you call it? Yeah.
exactly the same as Maria's. I remember getting beat by a copywriter. It was an email test, and they put the sales page in the email, the whole sales page. It was everything that was on the sales page was in the email. So it was over 1,000 words. I mean, not a super long sales page. It was probably 1,200 words, and mine was 250 words. Beat the pants off of me, and I was like, "How is it possible? No one's going to read this whole email." Now I'm the person, a long form person. Why would I say that? But to me, he was like, "What's the point of the sales page?" He killed me on that test. And so I say that to say sometimes super long form works, and sometimes super short works. I don't think my shortest winning email is probably about 70 words. But I remember doing 2 versions of my own test on a promo that did over $1 million. And one was 150 words, and one was just a shortened version of the exact same email. I just cut out all the fluff, and it was 80 words. And it got a whole lot more clicks to the sales page that converted, and so it ended up being the winner. So the answer to the question is it depends, and that's our benefit. It makes us work a little harder, but with the clients always say this, what's the perfect email that you can write? Well, it depends, Mr. Client, Mrs. Client. It's not always the short email. It's not always the long email. It's not always anything. Different situations call for different things, and we have to be flexible, and we have to analyze the data as we get it. So when we send out these emails, we're going to study, see what it says. We're going to test something else. We're going to study and see what it says. And then over time, we'll get better and better. And so that's a great reason for clients to keep you on a retainer. I'm going to be here for months. You got to pay me every month for the next 6 months, 12 months, so that we can really get this thing perfect. We can perfect what we're doing here. And so I've had clients for, actually one client I'm working with now, 8 years. They pay me every single month to write emails. I do a lot of things for them, but because we're continually creating new stuff, we're continually testing and optimizing. So the answer is it depends, and that's why clients need you around, because otherwise they could just make a template and copy paste and change some of the details every week or every day, however often they send. So it's it's actually good that it depends. We had to become students of our own craft. And that's also true in different industries. Different things work. When you're sending people to different calls to action, different things work. So we're just always studying and learning.
Right. Thank you very much for that input. I've also noticed that a lot of banks in Africa, when they're sending marketing emails or when they're sending promotional seasonal emails, they do much. Maya mentioned something that it was just a flyer. So I've noticed that some of these banks just attach an infographic, an image, add probably a short text, and then it sells or communicates what that particular brand wants to talk about. So I've noticed that more often than not, a lot of people tend to, because we talk about the human attention span that is very short. So something like that works more of the time.
Yeah, it depends. Again, it's a really great opportunity when you find out a client always sends out the flyers. Great. So have you tried text-based emails? Maybe, maybe not. But a lot of times they just copy what they've seen someone else do, or this is the standard for our industry. And so you say, okay, well, let's try it, because number one, text-based emails tend to go to spam less often. So if they're never going to spam, maybe they don't have that issue. But as Gmail and Yahoo and these companies become more strict with deliverability and inbox placement, because they're really trying to make sure everyone has a great experience. And the image-based thing where there's no text has a higher likelihood of going into spam. And so eventually you may have to switch anyway, Mr. or Mrs. Bank owner, business owner, because at some point these may all go into spam. If you can't get into the regular inbox, you don't have a chance. And so let's be nimble, let's be flexible and try different things. And you might find, depending on what you're trying to do, that the text-based thing just performs better. So a lot of times these conversations, they send an email because they feel like they need to send an email. But depending on what they're trying to do, you want someone to buy something, you want someone to sign up for something, you want someone to attend a live stream. It may take more explaining than you can do in a flyer. So yeah, you'll see that sort of thing. And again, in e-commerce too, a lot of times it's the flyer, just a picture of the product. Great, try it, but they should split test against a text-based thing to see which one works better. And they really don't know until they try it.
Sure. All right. So I'm going to ask this question. Excel David is asking, as a junior copywriter, some clients would want to see your past works. What should you do if you don't have any, or you haven't written anything in that niche before? So what should you do? So I think this is more like a beginner copywriter.
Yeah.
Clients ask this questions a lot. So what do you suggest?
Yeah. There's two things that you can do. There's two questions or two situations. If you have examples from another industry, I mean, I have done this. Like I don't have any in that industry, but I have some in a similar industry, and you can get a feel for my writing style and my abilities by checking out these from. So if I'm attempting to write for health, I can show you my finance thing, my financial copy. It's not exactly the same, but the client can look at it and see how they translate. Oh, this is how they come up with ideas. This is how they set up curiosity. This is how they do calls to action. And I bet they can do it in health. We just have to get you up to speed on the products and on this industry. So if you do have some samples, it's a good start. But it's a great idea also to create, even though no one's paying you, just look at products maybe from the specific client that you want to work with. What's one of their products or one of their services? And write emails so that you can show them. You haven't hired me to do this, but here's what an email from me might look like if I wrote it for you. And when you do that, it's also a great idea for you to develop relationships with other copywriters. It's really important for me because I know in my early days, I had no friends.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm by myself out here. And so you have no one to ask questions to, no one to run ideas by, no one who you can say, hey, do you know how it works over here? Do you have something? Can you show me some things that work in that industry? And so when you make friends across different industries and across different levels of experience, if you write a sample email for a client, you can send it to your friends and say, especially ones who work in that space, what do you think about this? What can I do to make this even better? What can I do to make this attractive, the most attractive way possible for the client? And so they can tell you, they'll help you, and you can do it for them, in return when they ask you a question. So yeah, you can write and should write some for free, like Maria said when she was talking about giving them a solution to their problem. That way you can really show this is what it would look like. There's no question or no trying to figure out, you wrote this for this person. How would it translate to me? They will know you wrote that specifically for their product or service, and they'll get a good feel for what you can do. And over time, you don't want to be writing free stuff for everybody all the time. But you begin to build up your repertoire of your sample portfolio. Like here's what I got. Now I got a ton of emails in health. I got a ton of emails in dog grooming. I got a ton of them in banking. And so then when you get clients, it helps. But one of the pieces of advice that I also give, especially I know it's hard in the beginning because you want money from whoever you can get it from. I know because that's how I was. I did dating niche, even though I never really dated. I got married when I was 19. Never really did dating. And all kinds of niches. And I ended up in finance way later. But the sooner you can pick a niche to be in, the sooner you can begin to if you only want to work with health, then the samples that you build, even when you're writing them without getting paid, they're building to one thing. So the next client you reach out to, all of my samples are in health because I decided to be a health copywriter, or I decided to be a fashion brand, e-commerce copywriter. And then that way you begin to really become an expert, have a lot of samples, build a reputation, and then you also get the results over time that you can show somebody else that applies to them directly.
Awesome. I'm going to ask this question because you just mentioned it, and it's related to what Chibueze is asking. He says, "Hi, Danny. Why is it so hard to get into the financial publishing industry? I feel like it's a small space and very hard to penetrate." Now, the question is about niching. So basically, do you want to talk about niching? How can someone niche into a market that is actually profitable?
Yeah. I have to be quick about this because I got to leave too. Our birthday party's on a boat, and if they leave the shore without me, I can't join. So,
okay.
Financial publishing is tough because it's the most sophisticated industry that there is in terms of clients. There's so many things out there. It's difficult to write something that is different, something that's effective, and something that fits all the criteria that you need. Because also in finance, there's rules. You can't just say anything. So they want, in financial publishing, the best way to do it if you're a junior or unexperienced is to go in-house with somebody. Like a lot of times the Agora companies, for example, they hire total newbies, total novices, because they feel, I'm going to train you in exactly how we do it. You don't have any bad habits. And they can also pay you a smaller amount than someone who's experienced. But as a freelancer, they really hesitate to hire someone who doesn't have some kind of experience already, or their samples have to be incredible. It's a very difficult space to operate in, and it's hard to get conversions. So you have to have, in order to break in, you can build a solid relationship with a high-ranked person at a publisher, and they can give you some tips to get in. But it's tight, especially when the market is not great. Like right now, well, especially like last year, they were firing the people that they had full time. They're coming into the office and they're firing people. So they weren't really working with freelancers. Hopefully the economy will come back. So we're seeing a little bit better this year than last year. But during hard times, you can't get in. The people who are in the industry can't stay in the industry. So really just you had to study the craft, look at all the exams that you can, spend as much time as you can writing, like practicing, and then, like I said, build relationships. And that's really the way. Any niche can be like that. I think finance is the hardest because of all the rules, and because of the difficulty of even great writers don't always do well in this space because it's just tricky and some of the ideas are complicated. So there's a more detailed conversation about that. But I think in any niche, it's really about doing what you can to become an expert as much as possible, and then really presenting yourself that way. Because as we're promoting ourselves on social media or whatever, sometimes we talk about things that are not relevant. Here's a picture of my dinner last night. It doesn't work. It doesn't do anything. So we have to do stuff like that to remain human. But let's talk about stuff specifically about our niche on social media. And that way, when people look for us, they'll see, okay, this is a person who understands the industry, someone who has new ideas in the industry, or at least really understands the existing ideas. And that gives you a chance to get attention. So there's a lot about niching. I think we're going to do another call next week. We can get more in depth on at that point.
Right. So thank you so much, Danny. At this point, I know you have a birthday celebration to catch up on.
Yes.
So we can do this again next week. So to everyone who's asking questions, your questions Danny can come around to answer them. We'll be doing this again exclusively with Danny. So again, I want to appreciate you, Danny Bryan, for joining us. Regardless, in spite of the challenges and everything, we're able to at least do almost an hour. I mean, this is 54, 57 minutes on the clock. So thank you again. We will be having this again with you next week. And really want to thank you. We are very grateful, for doing this with us in spite of the time. So thank you again. Just to for everyone who's asking questions, the EISA is going to run. So Donnie might reply to your questions in the DM or in the YouTube chat. I think a lot of questions are coming from YouTube. So Maria, the ones specifically from Maria she would answer them. The ones specifically for Danny, she would answer them. Danny, are you free to take one more, or we should?
No, right now I gotta jump right now.
Yeah. All right.
Questions, write them down, something, and I'll answer them on camera 1 week. I think next week I have
next week Saturday
limited amount of time, so we'll get into whatever we talk about.
We can do this again next week. All right. Thank you so much, Danny. I really appreciate it.
See about if I can answer any in the meantime.
Yeah, you can also drop a link to your YouTube channel at the end of in the chat actually. So a link. So I told you we're gonna get a lot of clicks today. So
I'm trying to get my 1,000 people. 1,000 subscribers.
Awesome. So guys, this is Danny is sharing his YouTube link channel in the chat box. So do well to get on his videos, on his content, and consume them. I think Maya did this earlier on. So you can check both of them out. I'm a subscriber already, so you're gonna love them. So thanks again, Danny. You can choose to catch up with your celebrations now.
Thanks for inviting me. It's been a lot of fun, and I look forward to next week.
Next week again. So next week we'll be having more to do with you again next week. Thank you so much, Danny, and do enjoy the rest of the day. Yeah. All right. So thank you again, everyone. I am really sorry we had to do this pre-meeting. Okay, it was pre-meeting. We had issues with we had some emergencies, and we had some emergencies with our speakers, and we had to find a way to reach a common ground. So I want to first of all apologize. I know we mentioned 4 p.m. West African time, but we had challenges with setting up their time zones and some other emergencies they had to deal with, which came up last minute. So I sincerely apologize that we started rather early, and a lot of us were not able to catch up with it. Our discussions also were not really in-depth. Our discussions are not in-depth as they ought to be, but I am promising you again that next week, by this time, 4 p.m., 4 p.m. West African time, we will be doing this again next week. So I'll just try to answer 1 or 2 questions, some of the questions that I'm seeing here, which were specifically targeted for one of our speakers. So I think I saw one. I'm just going to take one of these questions. So this is one coming from Blessing. So Blessing is asking, I have this idea to write emails for coaches so I can get a portfolio, but I want to do it for a fee. Is this a good idea? Now, what I do advise people do is that if you're starting out, do not worry about the money. Okay, do not worry about getting the money. The money will come in later. Worry about doing a great job for your clients. So especially now that you're doing this to get a portfolio, to get a testimonial from your clients, you may not want to do it for a fee. However, if the client chooses to reward you, to say, okay, thank you, Blessing, this copy generated tons of clicks. Like Maya was saying earlier, a winning email is categorized by an email that generates a good number of conversions. Okay, so if the client sees the conversions and says, okay, thank you, I want to retain you, or I want to give you something just to compensate you that's more than welcome. Okay, but in my own what I would actually advise you do is that if you are looking to build trust, okay, if you're looking to build trust the um with a client, all right, if you're looking to build trust with a client, you would want to do this for free. Okay, you want to do this for free and then get a testimonial running in later. So I think I've been able to answer that. We would host another session to talk about this again next week. I'm trying to see if I have any more questions coming in so I can probably answer them. How does one Okay, this is coming from Wisdom User. How does one kickstart cold emailing? Now, cold emailing is a little bit tricky because you want to actually send, like you want to actually put your best foot forward. Okay, so what I'm going to say you do if you want to kickstart cold emailing is that number one, research a lot about the clients and the company. Okay, research a lot about the client and the company. Make sure you studied the clients and the products they are purchasing. And in studying them, you probably want to get into their email list. All right. You want to check out a couple of emails they've written. Probably when you opted into their website, you didn't receive a welcome email or anything like that. So you want to check out if you receive welcome emails. You also want to check out how they sell their products, if there's anything they are missing and something you can do better. And you would, want to leverage on that. So once you've gotten those ready, then you just write a very simple pitch, nothing bogus, nothing like I think it was Donnie that said the first email he wrote was actually 70 words or so. All right, you just write something really simple. Hi, client's name. I came about your product on XXX or YYY, and I found out that this is not. I found out I didn't receive a cold email, or a welcome email. Here are some samples I think can work. Would you be willing to hop on a 1-minute call, or would you be willing for me to send it to you and or get on a call with you? Something short and captivating. I think I can send you a number of samples that you can use to you can just model them to perfect or write your code email. So thank you. I think I've been able to answer that. More questions will be responded to. The webinar is actually being recorded. Yep, it's been recorded. To those that are asking if there's going to be a replay. Yeah, so it's again, I want to apologize, and I really want to apologize again for starting this a little bit earlier, but I can assure you we have a full time with Danny again next week Saturday. I'm going to take one more question from Vanessa. Vanessa is asking, how do you begin the journey of email writing? Any recommendations of courses or books? There are two things to it. Okay, there are two ways to it. First, you might want to learn for free. Okay, there are YouTube courses, there are YouTube resources, there are YouTube videos. All right, there are Google resources as well. Okay, Google books. Books on resources that are free. You may want to schedule. You may want to look at them. But these resources can be challenging, and they can be they can be more confusing. All right, and you might want to spend a lot of time on them. Okay, and then the second way is you actually paying for an expert, to get to literally get how they do their things. Okay, how they get clients, how they work, and things like that. So you want to pay an expert and you believe delivers results. So how do you locate experts that they deliver results? Number one, you want to check them out on social media. Okay, so a lot of these guys talk about their courses, talk about their results. They share them in Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. You want to check them out, and the person you feel you probably love his style of writing, you love the way he communicates, you love his results, his approach to writing, the way he teaches. You might want to inbox them and ask if they have a course or mentorship up for sale. Again, if you need more information about that, I have a program also, that an email program that you might want to get or take a look at, so you can I'll discuss more about that in the WhatsApp group. So I think these are, yeah, I don't have any more questions here. Right. So thank you again, everyone. Like I said, this is actually recorded. So we're going to get the stream, and we are going to see again next week. So I really want to say thank you to everyone once again. And do enjoy the rest of your weekend. Do enjoy the rest of your weekend, basically. And then we'll see again next week. All right. Peace.